Smoak.
Phil Bennett, longtime college football coach, has been with us on most Mondays today because of course, the holiday yesterday, and a good time because we can look back at what Michael Penix did to UT secondary and also vice versa, all of what we saw on film. Coach, thanks for your time. Happy New Year. Craig and Paul here with me. David Smoak. Did you expect Penix to have that kind of success against UT?
You know, it was almost a repeat of the Alamo Bowl. Threw the ball so well vertically. And really, you know, they stayed in their man-to-man. I was surprised, Smokey, that they stayed in man-to-man the whole time and didn't give those corners some relief, especially after Washington State playing zone against them and doing such a good job against him. That was surprising.
Phil, I do think, though, that some of the guys, especially Ryan Watts, may go back and watch the film and think, well, I mean, I don't know what else I can do. Roma Dunse's just that guy, and Penix was just on. So how do you deal with the aftermath of that as a coach going, all right, look, you did actually what we told you to do, but this guy's just who he is?
Well, you know, you can say that, Paul. We've all been there, and it's easy to say it after the fact. But as I said, a year ago, this was almost a carbon copy game with the vertical route. They couldn't cover him last year. And one of the things Penix does, his vertical deep ball is so good. And I had read, you know, where I went back and looked, Washington State played a zone under man on top and really did a good job with them. I sort of thought Texas would feed off that, but they stayed in their man-to-man. It was tough.
Coach, what did you make of Washington's ability to fend off that nasty Texas front, that passing attack, or the pass rush of and just general chaos bringers that Texas has there on the defensive line? Washington's offensive line has to be pretty happy with that performance, no?
I thought they were super. You know, the way they gave him the pocket and the time. You know, it takes a while to run a vertical route, and that was the key right there, Craig. The time that he had to throw the ball, it was the difference.
So Penix he's left-handed. As a defensive coordinator, he's obviously pinpoint accurate. How much does facing a left-handed quarterback change things up, if at all?
You know, it's all about the hashes. If you can make, you know, where they, you know, one of the things, I say this again, and I know it's critical, but Texas never ran a load coverage. You know, their corners were hey, you're going to cover them all night. And so I really don't think that was an issue.
Phil, when you look at the last 2 minutes of that game, or 1:45, watching it, what were you thinking about the way that Washington managed the clock?
You know, I thought they had lost the game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why they just didn't kneel. And I haven't heard what their coach said. Has he made a statement on it?
There was an interview in the post game that he kind of like admitted that they could have done things better, but it not really. He didn't really like in any way in the post game and went back and looked to discuss the clock management. There were so many things that went wrong, even on the field goal that they made to give them a 9-point lead. They threw a pass on third down, stopped the clock.
Right.
Texas saved the timeout, the running into the punt returner for 15 yards. It's almost like everything that could go wrong that gave UT a chance to win did. And I'm asking you about on the injury to Johnson, where they had the clock running and they stopped the clock for an injury on the offense who has the ball. Well, I guess I did not know that rule, and they did not start it again until the snap.
Now, listen, we went through that when we played Michigan State. They had no timeouts last drive, and one of our D linemen got hurt. And if he doesn't get hurt, the clock runs out. They stop the clock, end up throwing a pass to win the game. So, yes, I've seen that happen.
Coach, on the other side of the bracket, we know it'll be the Michigan Wolverines after their overtime thriller against Alabama, stuffing Jalen Milroe on the final play of the game. I guess just what stood out to you amongst all the different things to parcel through? What stood out to you above all else when it came to that Michigan win?
Their defense. Their defense is they were so physical against the run, and then their secondary played were so attacking to the receivers. I really felt like their front dominated the whole game, which helped their secondary. And like we talked about, Texas couldn't do that, and they did, and it set the whole thing up.
Phil, I'm going to let you go. I know your voice is struggling right now, but the last thing on the matchup between Michigan's defense, their run game against Washington, who gave up some long runs to Texas, or a lot of runs to Texas, that matchup between those two, is it kind of oil and water, night and day, different type of styles?
Well, Smoak, is funny, but the thing that surprised me is Texas was averaging, I think, the first half, almost 9 or 10 yards a carry. And they didn't help their defense by doing it more. The best defense is them not having the ball. So, I think Michigan is going to have an advantage with that. But Michigan better be ready for the vertical game that Penix throws.
Phil, thank you, man. Happy New Year, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Sorry about this cold.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It happens. Phil Bennett with us on Mondays this week, Tuesday, because of the holiday.